Good morning, GLDSers and partners. I hope you had fun last night with all your partner vendors, and you're going out and really good time communicating with each other, learning and discovering. We are really excited to continue to work with partners, and today I'm really honored to introduce Bob Carrick, who is the Global Strategy Lead for Calix Cloud. And if you know Bob, he's very intelligent and knows a lot about standards and compliance and has had a lot to do with the Calix Cloud deployment. So he's here to talk about innovation, and welcome, Bob. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Adam. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm going to turn that one off so we don't have any feedback. I guess I'll wait for some slides. There we are. So today, for those that don't know me, as Adam mentioned, Bob Carrick, Global Strategic Lead for Calix Cloud. You can tell by the color of my beard how long I've been doing this. I've spent more than 25 years focusing on subscriber experience in call centers from a broadband perspective, so long that broadband back then was 128 kilobits per second. I can't believe we could even call that broadband. This is not a product pitch today. This is a philosophical pitch. We in this industry, and you can all attest to it here, we're very reactive when it comes to subscribers' problems. And there is a different way to do that, and it's about being proactive. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you could be proactive, why you might want to be proactive, and just spark that thought in that conversation. And I'm not making this up, since 2004, I've been trying to wait to get to a place where compute and data would allow us to be proactive instead of reactive, right? Since 2004, there's been various standards, and thank you, Adam, for bringing up standards. There have been various industry standards that have paved the way for us to start thinking about how we can someday get to this place where instead of waiting for a subscriber to call, we could identify that a subscriber was impacted by something and we could fix it, and hopefully before they even notice there's a problem. And that challenge just continues to grow and evolve in this industry. If you look at 10 years ago, maybe some of your customers were into Wi-Fi, maybe they still had Ethernet connected devices for most of their things. But as a subscriber, you can't even buy an Ethernet connected device today. Right? I have a corporate laptop, as do all of us, and mine doesn't give me the option for a wired connection. So the challenges continue to grow and evolve, and it's not just inside the subscriber's home anymore. They're expecting the same experiences from you in other places in their life, whether that be in a park, at a coffee shop, etc. And so all of those things continue to just get more challenging and more confusing from that perspective. And speed isn't enough, right? You all know that your subscribers, I'm going to bet anybody here that's taken trouble calls in their life, you've had a subscriber who was either signing up for services or calling about services or getting support for services and said, hey, that internet charge that's on my bill, I don't want that, I just want Wi-Fi from you. Thank you, right? So they don't know what speed is. They don't know what 100 megabits is versus a gigabit, right? So it's not just about speed. They want a good and reliable, consistent service. They want, efficient customer support. They obviously want strong Wi-Fi in every room. And they want managed services and managed experiences, right? There was a time when things like parental controls were, yeah, maybe we could offer that to our subscribers. And nowadays, it's almost a gotcha. You have to have it at that sort of entry-level base. And the challenges don't just start with the complexities inside the home or having to offer services in small businesses. There's a lot of other competition for all of you, right? You all probably know Comcast has 31% of the market, right? The largest broadband service provider in this country. There's also $1 trillion in private equity. There are companies, happens to be a Calix customer, that was nice, but they bought 1 million broadband subscribers right out of the gate. Somebody was selling, they went and bought them, and they did it all with private equity. Started from scratch. Brand new company, now they have 1 million broadband subs in one shot. There's a ton of money in this industry, and that's starting to spark up other broadband service providers, over-the-top competition. Why did Amazon buy Eero? Because they want your subscribers' data badly. That's the only reason. They sell Eero at a loss. They don't care about profits on Eero because they know the data about what the subscriber's doing online is far more profitable and valuable to them as a business. Imagine if they knew exactly what you did online every day. Imagine the ads they could prop up and sell you, right? So those over-the-top players become a really interesting problem in your world, right? If they go and buy Wi-Fi from Amazon, who do you think they're going to call when they have a support problem? Not Amazon. They don't have a 1-800 number. They're calling you because they think they get Wi-Fi from you and not that fantastic broadband, whether it be fiber, et cetera. Those challenges just continue to grow. 10% of subscribers call your services monthly for support. That's just a straight industry fact. If you have less than 10% of subscribers calling monthly or more than 10%, you have problems. Industry statement, 10%. For an all-fiber network, 80% of your trouble calls are probably in-home experience, which means Wi-Fi. Industry average is 60%. Obviously, on the copper side, that goes way down because local loop is the big problem for calls. Coax, pretty right there at that 56%. And then, like I said, for fiber, 80%. So overall industry average, 60% of your subscribers are calling with Wi-Fi related problems. 20 to 30% of routers returned as part of a trouble escalation process have no fault found. Completely wasted process. 10 to 15% of subscriber calls monthly from an industry average require multiple calls, meaning the problem wasn't solved correctly on the first call. We all know that reboots are the worst process resolution for a trouble call because that's an unknown fix to an unknown problem, right? Just a blind, hey, reboot it. Oh, look, things work again, great. 30 days later, they're calling back because that problem is resurfaced. The home network really has become your pain point, right? There was a time when we all had demarcs, right? We all said, if the broadband connection is working to the home, we end that call, problems on the subscriber. Well, we know we can't do that. Terrible subscriber experience. And again, they don't know what they're really paying for from you. They think they're paying for Wi-Fi from that perspective. But the good news is, you don't have to be reactive. You can actually be proactive in changing how you support your subscribers' experiences. If you look at Wi-Fi, right? 3 common problems. If you boil Wi-Fi up, it is only 3 problems. What's my SSID and passphrase? i.e., I've got a new device, I'm trying to get it connected to my Wi-Fi, can you help me? Unfortunately, you can't be proactive on that one. You can't read minds, well, if some of you can, that's weird and you should leave the room. Or you get a special helmet like Magneto so that Professor X can't read your thoughts. But you can be proactive on something like coverage. You have all the data. If you have a managed Wi-Fi experience, you have the data that will tell you which of your subscribers are suffering from poor coverage. On average, if you are still deploying Wi-Fi 5 systems, probably about 40% of your subscribers are suffering from poor coverage. And the problem is they might not be calling because they don't know. They just think, oh, my Wi-Fi sucks in the bedroom. They don't realize that there is a solution from that perspective. Interference, obviously a really good Wi-Fi system is going to take care of that. You don't have to worry about it. So of the 3 common problems, and when you look at them, they're about 33% of trouble calls. It's a kind of an even, except it can change depending on where you live, right? I live in New York City, so obviously interference really jumps up as a problem as opposed to coverage, which really goes down. Because, to get more than, say, a 1-bedroom apartment, it's at 1.3 million or something stupid. So most people don't have to worry about coverage problems. Except Matt Damon lives in my neighborhood. His apartment was 86 million. It's dumb. We'll talk about it. I've had drinks with him. I'm not making that up. I've never seen his house, though. So, again, if a third of the problems can be solved proactively and remotely by offering those subscribers a proactive outreach to say, hey, how are you enjoying your experience? Oh, you have bad coverage in your bedroom? We can fix that. I didn't realize I had builds in these slides. I should have said that first. But again, suffering with poor coverage, you can upsell them to whole home coverage. Right-sizing subscribers. I already mentioned that subscribers don't know what speed is. But if you know the type of subscriber they are, you can, again, right-size them. Most subscribers and customers, right, most people that buy stuff, if you saw 3 of the same thing and you couldn't really tell which one was better and why, how are you going to pick? You're just going to buy the cheapest one. So a lot of subscribers will start with the cheapest package because they don't know any better. But if you understand the type of subscriber they are, you can actually upsell them to the right service tier so they get the right experience that they need, right? If you've got a user that has 10 Wi-Fi connected devices and doesn't really do much, yeah, they could live on 100 meg and never have a problem. You have 50 connected devices inside the home, they're streaming a ton, they probably need a higher service tier. But you might say, oh, shit, sorry, I hope that wasn't recorded. You might say, I don't want to have to call subscribers to do this stuff. Well, there are other things that you can do in your network that can allow you to be proactive and might not require you to actually have to call subscribers. So it might be able to identify things in your network that you can do proactively without necessarily having to interact with a subscriber. So your ONTs, for those of you that are fiber, you can do it again as well on coax. You can do it on copper, though if you're still on copper, you probably have much bigger things that you got to go battle. So on a fiber side, right, monitoring things like BIP errors or degrading light levels or battery levels on ONTs, those types of things, so that you can actually get out there, schedule regular ONT maintenance. There are some great tools that actually do like global GIS, though that's an acronym that I've heard a lot from you all today in the last couple of days, but looking at doing workflows based on geographical locations over time. There's lots of fun ways that you can really be proactive around the health of your network. And also understanding the health of your PON, right? If you've got, say, PON saturation, right? You might not know that a PON port is actually being saturated by the 32 or 64 subscribers on that port, causing problems for the rest of the subscribers on that port, right? PON utilization has always been something that our networks have struggled with. So being able to understand in advance of a saturation event, or what if an uplink port is saturated, thus affecting every subscriber on that whole system, right? So you can look at how do you understand PON saturation and get ahead of events where saturation is affecting other subscribers. This one, I had the fortune of meeting with multiple GLDS and Calix customers back in October. Outage notifications was a huge topic. Actually, some of my friends in the front row, though I appreciate them sitting in the front row, were actually part of those conversations, and outage notifications really started to get some light as being a huge industry problem, right? Understanding when, let's say, a PON goes down, who's impacted by that event so that you can be proactive. Yes, it's reactive because you're fixing a problem after it happened, but you can't. Someone asked me actually on a call one day, said, can you notify me before an outage happens? I said, I don't have satellites in the sky looking for errand backhoes, so no, I can't do that. But what we can do is at least tell you when an event happens, exactly who's impacted, where the problem happened, so that you can be faster to fix it. You probably all in here would say, if I asked you, how do you know when you have an outage? You're going to say when subscribers start calling. That is backwards. You're spending millions of dollars on these networks. You should know before your subscribers call you when an event happens. Now, there's a time racing condition. If I tell you within 60 seconds of an alert, there might be a subscriber who has already started calling you because they're just that fast on the phone. But you can understand and get ahead of events like PON saturation, and as soon as something happens in your network, you can know exactly where the problem is, exactly what subscribers are affected, and you can message them. You would probably not be surprised that if you proactively called a subscriber or sent them a text message or an alert in a managed app and said, hey, I know you're affected and your services are down, but we're on it. That subscriber experience is far different than you waiting for them to get frustrated and calling you and being put on hold and then saying, hey, my Wi-Fi is down, the subscriber, the customer rep who's supporting that subscriber hears Wi-Fi and starts troubleshooting Wi-Fi, only to realize that, wait, there's a bigger affected problem. So you can really get ahead of and change that experience even though they're out of services, so it's negative, but you can flip the conversation and really elevate the subscriber experience on a negative event. And you might say, but why? Why would I want to be proactive? Would you believe that that's actually what your subscribers want? So some recent surveys, I took these from a few, you can see some of the sources. 83% of subscribers that haven't experienced a proactive subscriber case want you to be proactive. And I'm not making this up. I was actually at dinner last night. The bartender asked me what I do for a living, and I gave him a little tidbit. And he said, "Oh, why are you here?" I said, "Actually, I'm here to talk at a conference." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, you know, when you have a Wi-Fi related problem," because I didn't say broadband because he thinks Wi-Fi. I said, "You have to call that company to get help." I said, "Well, what if they called you and offered you the help autonomously and proactively?" He's like, "Oh my God, that would be great. I would love if they helped me before me having to call them." So that's just an anecdotal aspect of the actual real numbers of 83%. And of the subscribers surveyed from the year before to this year, 65% of them have a higher expectation of support experiences from you as operators. So they're now expecting more from a support perspective. And then 89% of subscribers who have already experienced a proactive support found it very positive. So they liked that experience over the reactive side. And then 92% who have experienced proactive support said it actually changed their perception of that company in a very positive way. So it improved their experience, so like things like Net Promoter Score, subscriber experience. And so what are some of the actual benefits to you? Proactive support gives a 140% increase that subscriber is going to spend more with you as an organization because they're happier. 77% of subscribers view a business more positively, like we said, so increasing things like Net Promoter Score, right? We all know that sadly as an industry, Net Promoter Score for this industry is absolutely horrifying, right? Let's go back to that elephant of Comcast. They have a Net Promoter Score of 8. That is worse than the airline industry, right? Not a great thing to be. But we have examples of customers and people that you know that have Net Promoter Scores of 76 because they're doing things differently. And don't get me wrong, I'm actually an ex-Comcaster. I worked there for multiple years. Nobody woke up at Comcast and said, "Hey, you know what we want to do today? I want to provide a really crappy experience." We didn't, right? We were trying to do the best thing, but this industry is rooted in some of these things for a very long, long time. And change is hard. Change is scary. But there are so many benefits, right? For, as an example, a 30% reduction in call volume. So if I could take your 10% call volume and drop it by 3 points, think of the OpEx reductions, right? 25% reduction in OpEx. Some critical benefits from an experience perspective for your subscribers. So what would be next? If you were to say to me at the end of this, "Hey, Bob, I liked what you talked about. How could I do it?" It starts with a couple really easy things. And you might wait, well, what do you mean by it? Why would I have to create trusted communication channels? I'll give you an example. I worked with a customer last year to offer trial upgrades, all machine-to-machine, text message-based campaign. No phone interaction whatsoever. Text out to a subscriber base that we knew would benefit from an upgrade because they were, gamers and streamers and hitting service limit hits. They only had 100 megabits per second. So we did a completely text-based campaign. Would you like a 7-day upgrade to 1 gig? Text 1 for yes, 2 for no. If 1, then it did flow-through integration to the OLTs and upgraded them to 1 gig, changed the billing record, etc. They had 22% conversion. But they had some calls being like, "Hey, are you really texting me? Is this spam?" They had never sent a text to their subscriber base before. So it was an untrusted communication channel, right? We all get texts from our mobile providers because they've been doing it for years. And how did they start? Simple things like, "Hey, thank you for paying your bill." So they've built up this trusted channel, so when you receive a message on that channel, you're more likely to interact with it because you trust it, you know where it's coming from, you know it's not a scam, it's not someone trying to get your PIN and steal, your funds or what have you. So create those trusted channels, whether it be SMS, whether it be through mobile app communication. Most of you are deploying mobile apps from a managed Wi-Fi perspective. generate trusted email channels, right? Most of our communications to subscribers probably just go into a spam filter. But if it becomes a trusted channel, they'll bring it back out of spam, mark it as a trusted source so it gets into their inbox. You could start today. This is the one time while I'll talk about a product pitch. If you have Calix Cloud, and many of you do, it's there now. You have all of the data and the insights to do everything I mentioned on all of the previous slides. You might say, well, but outage notifications, we're struggling in the industry. That's been fixed. We have it. We delivered it starting yesterday. We're actually working with GLDS. So you've heard a lot of talk about webhooks, right? Webhooks are coming to Calix Cloud in 23.3, which is August. We're prepping in advance with GLDS. So the outage notifications that come from Calix Cloud today will go automatically into GLDS's infrastructure. So they'll be able to automatically generate a dispatch ticket to have a technician go to the source of the affected outage. They can generate text messages as a trusted channel or email because, of course, they've got opt-in, opt-out. So they have all of that information and all of that workflow to completely, for the first time in the industry, machine-to-machine, fully automated dispatch of technicians to an outage, messaging to your subscribers to be proactive. That's all available basically in certain aspects right now on Calix Cloud, and then as soon as we do our joint integration, and it goes back to the integration topics that Adam and I were talking about yesterday in one of the sessions. I apologize I couldn't do both, but coming together as those three trusted sources really becomes valuable. In fact, Calix released 22.3 on Tuesday night, and I'm happy to announce that GLDS is already 23.2 certified across all Calix platforms. All of that integration is complete. Some of them worked very long and hard through the night to get that completed. So I do want to wrap up by saying thank you to being such a great partner. Thank you to Adam. Thank you to Carrick. Thank you to all the team all over the place. We're all here to help. And whatever you need, you can really change how you support your subscribers and go from reactive to proactive. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Bob, for that. That was great. Now I'm going to invite Josh up to the stage to talk about what to expect pre- and post-upgrade.
Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good, good. You enjoying BAM so far? Yeah? Good deal. Learning lots, hopefully. So I wanted to let you guys know beforehand, I've thrown in an intentional mistake in my slides. So I want to see if you guys can identify it. Keep paying attention. All right. So what to expect pre and post upgrade. The first step is we want to explain what our new terms are. We've been kind of restructuring our upgrade process. We want to make it more transparent and smoother for everyone. That way we can work together and make sure your upgrades go smoothly and everything is performing the way it's supposed to be after the upgrade's done. So GLDS is now offering the latest version of BroadHub and software at no additional cost, and this is included in the annual license renewal. We're doing this because we want to keep you current as possible. You guys start falling behind a couple of versions, it's trouble. You lose functionality, and then when you try to get caught back up, it's hard to understand that new functionality, and you're stressing out trying to keep up with it. So we want you to stay as current as possible, and this is part of our changes to help that keep happening. Now, there are some compatibility exceptions to the stay current rule, but for the most part, we generally want you guys to stay current. So who's this going to benefit? This is going to benefit all of our customers on a monthly support plan. So if you do have a monthly support plan, we will do your upgrades at no additional cost. If you don't have a monthly support plan you will have to continue paying for the upgrades as well. So the upgrade times. The times that we are offering our free upgrades is in between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you do wish to have your upgrade performed after that, there will be an after-hours cost associated with that. But we will be happy to do after-hours. We want to accommodate your time schedule. We know that during the upgrade, we have to take your system down and your downtime. So if that's not feasible to do that in between the times of 6 a.m., 6 p.m., we do after-hours services as well. So, and then some of you guys prefer to do your own upgrades. We have made really good strides with our documentation team to get some new documentation out to make that possible for you guys to perform your own upgrades if you are daring enough. So, the first step is requesting the upgrade. GLDS sends out messages. Our messaging system sends out email blasts and lets you guys know when we've pushed out a new upgrade. If you guys have not signed up for the email blast, please let one of the support members know so that way we can get you added to that list so you can stay current with all of the new information that GLDS is sending out. So the first step is going to be if you do receive that email blast that says, hey, we've pushed out a new upgrade, you can either go ahead and send in a support ticket, or we would prefer if you would just go to glds.com/upgrade and begin filling out the upgrade survey, because if you do send in a support ticket, we're going to send you the link back and say, fill that survey out, please. So, excuse me. So on the survey, we would like you to make sure to complete all of the information. If you happen to be filling out the survey and you don't know the answer to one of the questions, please talk to someone in your organization so that way we can get that accurate information on the survey. That just helps expedite the process, and when we get the project created, our technicians don't have to spend a bunch of time researching all the stuff throughout your system. So we would ask that you fill out that survey form completely as possible. So let's take a look at what that preview form, or that survey form, is going to look like. Oh, one other thing to note. If you do want to have a BroadHub link, also known as supercontroller, for a little while longer, the BroadHub link and the BroadHub upgrade surveys are both on the same site. So you can go to that glds.com/upgrade and request a BroadHub link or a BroadHub upgrade. So this is going to be what you see when you get to the BroadHub survey. The first question is going to be, what's your reason for upgrading? Is your system cloud, or do you own your own servers? So if you do have a cloud, you'll get some different options to choose from. It's not as robust for the cloud users because GLDS handles most of that on our side anyways. You can see on the right-hand side there, that is what, if you own your own hardware, that is the survey that you're going to be filling out. It's not like we're asking you to fill out a 20-page survey, hey, blah, blah, blah. We just need to get some basic information so we can get the process started from you guys. So once you've filled out the survey, the next step will be the survey comes to the technical support team here at GLDS. One of our support members will be assigned the project, and once that project is assigned out, they will reach out to you guys, and we'll start to begin establishing expectations. Do you guys want your training database updated? Are you going to want a test BHA instance? So, question for you guys, are you all familiar with what a BHA instance is? Anyone? Test instance, the test BHA instance. Are you familiar with that? Most of you? Okay. Well, for those of you who aren't, a BHAS test instance is basically, we take a copy of your database, put it in a standalone instance where it can't interfere with any of your production or training databases, and that way you can have all of the new functionality in that test and play environment, and you can go through and make sure that you're going to want all of that new functionality. You understand it, you can get your processes in place before you actually go live with the upgrade. So if you haven't had that done yet and you do want to have that done, please make sure when our technicians reach out to you to discuss the expectations, that you just let them know that you would like to look into having that test BHA instance. Some other things that we're going to discuss is some of your potentially impacted interfaces, such as your APIs, your direct interfaces, Calix integrations, BroadHub Link, all of those. We want to discuss that and make sure we both are on the same page, and to make sure that all of those are going to work correctly after the upgrade as well. So once we've got the expectations established, the GLDS technician will jump on your system and will perform a backup and restore. We'll take that backup and restore and name it test in whatever version it is. And that way we can run our upgrade scripts against it. We can make sure that the upgrade process is going to work smoothly. And if there's any kinks, we can find those during that testing process. We're also going to run your report, the report validation utility, and that's going to tell us if there are any reports that need to be corrected before the upgrade. That way we can proactively grab those reports, get them fixed in your actual production database before we do the upgrade, and your job scheduler and nothing like that is messed up after your upgrade. So once we've completed our testing and we've made sure that everything's going to work, we'll reach back out to you. We'll let you know how long the estimate is, and we'll get the upgrade scheduled for you guys that works on the best time frame for you. So we definitely want to make sure that you guys are comfortable and understand that these upgrades do take your systems down. And so it's important that when your system's down like that, that we have a point of contact during the upgrade. So actually, during the upgrade process, there's not really a lot of communication. There's just the technician is doing his thing, his or her thing behind the scene, and there's no really communication. However, we do want to have a point of contact in case something goes south. That way we can reach out to you and let you know, hey, we've run into an issue. Let's work together and get this figured out. Do you want to roll back? Do you want to continue moving forward? It might take a little more time. Just anything that we can make sure the process goes smoothly for you. So we would also ask that you alert your entire team of when the upgrade is going to be performed. We've had instances where the company did not alert people and they tried to connect to the database while we were performing the upgrade, and that has actually caused issues in the past, and quite a few issues. So we do ask that you alert your team to not try to log in and to stay out of the system while we are performing the upgrade. Like I've mentioned before, when we do the actual production live upgrade, your entire system is offline. No payments can be made. MBA, MBM is offline. The BroadHub tech is offline. Everything. We shut everything off so that way nothing interferes with the upgrade. That upgrade is the most important thing, so that way all of the data stays intact and it does not get overridden or jumbled during the upgrade process. So if you do want to alert your subscribers as well that your site's going to be down, that would be the time to do that as well. Just make sure that your subscribers are aware that you're going to be doing a maintenance window. So on the GLDS side of things, once the upgrade is done, what we do is we'll reach out to you guys and let you know, hey, where your upgrade was a success, please go ahead and start your post-upgrade checks, which I will discuss on the next slide. However, on the GLDS side of things, just because we've let you know the upgrade was a success doesn't mean we're done. What we're going to do is we're going to go and make sure your client workstations upgrade correctly if possible. It's hard to jump on a remote system sometimes and make sure that upgrade goes because we don't have the credentials for that. But if we are able to test the client workstations are going to upgrade for you, we'll go ahead and do that and make sure that is working. We're going to move the correct files over to your upgrade manager deployment so that way when your team comes in after the upgrade, their system will automatically prompt them to upgrade. We're also going to make sure that your BroadHub link is enabled in processing, commands are flowing through there. We'll send a test command, we'll verify that it's flowing, and we'll make sure everything is working smoothly. We're going to rerun the report validation as well. That way we can make sure that all of your reports are good, and when we restart your job engine, all of those jobs are going to flow without error. And then we will restart your job engine, and if you have any scheduled jobs that was supposed to be performed during the upgrade time, we'll make sure those are flowing as well and everything's processing as needed. We'll also verify that your MBM is up and running and that you can connect to it correctly. And then we will also verify that your BroadHub Tech connectivity is working as well, if possible. One last thing, if you guys have an ARU, we'll jump on and make sure that the ARU is connected as well. So now, what we would like, and we haven't really asked in the past, we would like to put a little more of the post-upgrade testing on you guys as well. So that way we can work together and make sure everything is working completely. And you guys have a lot better understanding of your system and what it's supposed to be running like than we do. So we would like to have you work together with us after the upgrade and just make sure that everything's working correctly. So the first thing you're going to do is just make sure that all of your client workstations upgraded correctly. I know a couple of you have had some issues in the past with that. We're going to work on that. Make sure that all your clients upgrade correctly without error, and that way you don't have to manually go through and do all of that. However, if you do have an issue with the automatic updates, we will provide you files so that you can manually move those files to that workstation and run through the process manually. We would ask that you log in and you test a payment in BroadHub to verify that WinPay connectivity. That way you know you're getting payments and everything's working there. We'll also ask you to log into MBA, verify account access. So if you have a test and play account, make sure you can get in there, maybe perhaps try to change a service if you have that option available, and just go in and poke around a little bit and make sure everything's working correctly. The next thing that we would like you to do is perform the SMTP profile tests. And so that's going to be done through the BroadHub link server as well. You just go into your SMTP profiles through system configuration, and there's a little test option there. So we just ask you to test that and make sure it works. The reason GLDS is no longer going to be doing this is because we've gone in and some sites have 5, 10, 20 different SMTPs. Well, we don't know which one's actually supposed to be working. We don't know that information. So we would like you to go in and test the ones that you know are supposed to be working and make sure they are actually properly working. And then we would also like you to verify your BroadHub Tech. We want you to log in as a technician. We want you to view the work orders. And if you have previously uploaded pictures, please take a look at those and make sure those are all good as well. Then these are all if you have them, please check them. So the test your Calix cloud, make sure that's working. Refresh the subscriber, check for your errors, make sure all of that goes well. The next one is test your win score. If you have that and that's applicable to you, make sure you test that out as well as the ARU. If you have that, just make sure calls are flowing as needed. And then if you also have the DCC, the Dispatch Command Center, if you don't have it, look into it. It's awesome. But just verify that the DCC map is showing the technicians, your work orders are there as needed, and that no errors come up when you open the map. So something else that GLDS is going to start doing as well, in the following days after your upgrade, we're going to go in and start cleaning up our mess. Imagine that, cleaning up after yourself. I tell my kids that every night, and whoo. So in the following days, what GLDS is going to do, we're going to jump back on your system. We're going to make sure your nightly backups are processing. We're going to make sure that everything's going smoothly in the background as it should be. We're going to remove all our test database that was created during the upgrade process, and then we're going to remove any of the pre- and post-upgrade files that we created And just make sure that we clean up and leave your system as we found it. Of course, if you do prefer to keep some of those files, we can make sure that we move those files to an appropriate place instead of just removing them. And that, my friends, is it. Anyone got any questions? No? Thank you. Oh, just kidding. All right, so like I said at the beginning, I threw a mistake in there. Who caught it? Anyone? No one? It's so obvious. I didn't mean to do it either. I just thought it'd be a great way to keep you guys engaged. So right there, the very last one there, it says WinForce Tech. That's no longer a thing. It's BroadHub Tech. Come on, guys. Come on. All right. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Enjoy BAM. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Josh. Now it's time for a short break. Please make sure you're back here by 10 a.m. to start our next session. Oh, never mind. Wait for Jenna.
I needed to run just one time today. For those of you who might be departing early or doing anything that we won't be around for the balance of our sessions today, I want to say travel safely home. It's been a pleasure meeting all of you that I got to meet for the first time today, to see some really familiar faces again. But most importantly, for those who are in the room who are mothers, I want to wish you all a very, very happy Mother's Day, and thank you for ramping into us. Ramping into each other. Good mamas in this room.
You are all awesome. Thank you.
Give me a second.